Have you ever found yourself in a meeting where, well, every project report flashes green or maybe yellow, yet you've got this nagging feeling in your gut telling you things are actually way off track?
Oh, yeah, that feeling.
Yeah.
Or maybe you felt that sharp pain of a project just spiraling wildly
Yeah.
because the requirements change faster than, the weather.
Exactly. Today, we're peeling back the layers on exactly that kind of real-world challenge. It's a scenario I think many IT leaders know all too well.
Absolutely. That intuition, that sort of disconnect between the official reports and the ground truth, it's often a really powerful signal.
Right.
It speaks to deeper currents within an organization. Could be communication breakdowns, team dynamics, or even the very essence of how strategic decisions get made. It's a critical moment for any leader.
And that's precisely what we're exploring today. We're taking a deep dive into Chapter 6, Project Management, from the adventures of an IT leader.
Good stuff.
Our mission is really to unpack the crucial lessons Jim Barton, the new CIO in the story, learns as he starts grappling with leading IT projects and teams, especially when he's faced with these sharply conflicting ideas about how best to, manage them.
And as we journey through Jim's experiences, we'll connect these insights directly back to the bigger picture, strategic information systems, effective IT service management, and really importantly, your own development as a leader in tech.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the technical mechanics of project management, is it? It's about the really profound human and organizational dimensions that genuinely determine if something succeeds or fails.
So true. And as we unpack these strategic insights, we really encourage you to pause, maybe reflect a little, and think about how they resonate with your own experiences. If this deep dive sparks some new ideas for you or maybe helps connect some important dots, please do consider sharing it with a colleague or perhaps discussing it with your study group.
Yeah, that engagement really helps us keep these vital conversations going.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Jim Barton, he's the new CIO at IVK Corporation. He's just come over from the business side.
Fresh perspective.
Right. And he walks into his first project status meeting, and almost immediately, he's hit with what the book calls a throbbing headache.
Haha, yeah. It's more than just physical, isn't it? It's a perfect metaphor, really, for the strategic pain and the complexity he's about to inherit.
Totally.
And what Jim quickly encounters is this glaring discrepancy. You've got the seemingly orderly reports on one hand,
Right.
and then this palpable tension in the room on the other.
Yeah.
He sees Rebecca Calder from Loan Origination Systems and Jorge Huerta from Customer Support Systems, and they're locked in this subtle but, unmistakable conflict.
They're basically at loggerheads, yeah. And the review quickly turns into this thinly veiled contest between them.
It does. And what immediately strikes Jim and us as readers is the suspicious symmetry in the reports.
Yeah, that part was weird.
Both teams present almost identical proportions of green, yellow, and red projects. And Jim, with his fresh eyes from the business side, he just finds this too neat to be credible. What's really going on there, do you think?
Well, it's a classic red flag, isn't it?
Totally.
Jim suspects they're, gaming the system or maybe negotiating their status ratings to save face.
Exactly. And it's not just about misreporting, is it? It's really a symptom of a deeper organizational issue.
Okay.
It points to a culture where, well, appearances are prioritized over honest communication, and maybe performance pressures actually discourage admitting problems. For a new CIO, that's huge. It signals significant cultural problems eroding trust and transparency.
And you really see this play out in the dialogue, right? Calder suggests her yellow project is actually green, and Huerta immediately jumps in, claiming one of his yellow projects could also be green. It stops being about finding solutions.
Yeah, it becomes about jockeying for position, this boasting and finger-pointing. It just highlights that palpable rivalry and a really siloed culture, optics over honest status.
So from a management perspective, what's Jim seeing?
Well, he's observing the entrenched workplace culture his predecessor left behind.
Yeah.
He quickly notes this troubling lack of candor
Yeah.
and how these reports, instead of clarifying things, were actually masking the real issues.
Yeah.
That points straight to a deficit of trust and maybe a lack of effective structure in their reporting process. A huge leadership challenge for Jim right off the bat.
Definitely. So given this huge gap between the reports and, the vibe in the room, Jim knows he has to step in.
Right.
So he asks that crucial question. Why are so many of our projects behind schedule and over budget, even the ones marked green or yellow? And the room goes silent.
And Jorge Huerta, the more, let's say, traditional manager, He seizes that moment, doesn't he? He steps up to give his diagnosis.
He does. What's his take?
Huerta's diagnosis is pretty direct. He basically believes IT lacked discipline in the project management process.
Okay.
And he traces it back to poor upfront planning and fuzzy scope definition. He argues that when you have that, success becomes a moving target, which inevitably leads to
Scope creep.
relentless scope creep, as he puts it. For Huerta, the core IT issue is this fundamental lack of clarity and control right from the beginning.
And his solution is just as direct. More planning and tighter control.
Yep. Define everything at the beginning, treat it like a contract, and any changes. Only through formal scope changes.
He even uses that construction project analogy, doesn't he? Saying IT needs to grow up.
Right. Stop treating projects like unique snowflakes.
Yeah.
He's pushing for a very disciplined, almost rigid, traditional approach. Waterfall.
Yeah.
And this perspective, it has deep roots. It aligns with established IT governance frameworks, things like COBIT and IDLE, which are vital for stability and compliance. They emphasize structured planning, clear processes, governance.
Yeah.
But, and this is key, while that's essential sometimes, it can become a real management challenge if you apply it everywhere. It can stifle the flexibility you often need in modern IT.
Okay, so now this is where Jim shows some real leadership skill, I think. Instead of just shutting down the conflict.
Yeah, he navigates it.
He subtly sets some ground rules for communication, lets Rebecca Calder speak after Huerta, tries to foster respect and open dialogue. And Rebecca, who's clearly been uncomfortable, she just delivers this really blunt, impactful disagreement.
She really does. Calder's argument just directly confronts Huerta's whole premise. She says, pretty unequivocally, that the idea all requirements can be understood in advance is a fantasy.
Strong words.
Yeah. She points out users often don't know what they want until they see it. And crucially, that important requirements emerge only once development is underway. That hits right at a common IT issue, doesn't it? The inherent uncertainty in a lot of software projects.
Definitely. And her solution is so memorable. Plan until a point of diminishing returns, then you start building.
Right. Embrace the 80-20 rule for requirements. Get the core down.
And then that famous line, fail faster to succeed sooner. Fail forward. I mean, that feels almost counterintuitive to everything we usually learn about meticulous planning.
It does. But it's a core idea in Agile philosophy, which has, really revolutionized IT project management.
Okay.
Calder's advocating for an iterative, learning-oriented way, using rapid succession of prototypes, refining gradually, working with a lightweight plan that evolves.
Even paper prototypes for big systems, she suggests.
Exactly. It shows this adaptable mindset isn't just for small stuff. Her approach directly tackles that IT issue, where traditional waterfall just doesn't deliver well when things are dynamic and user needs change.
And she makes a great point about engagement, too.
Yeah, that's key.
Prototypes force active discussion and attention to detail in a way that, huge documents often don't. Her view is that the process is only as good as the real engagement it creates.
Right. She basically challenges Huerta's dream world belief that you can define everything perfectly up front, pointing to IVK's own messy project history as proof.
So Jim Barton is left with this profound CIO's dilemma.
Big time.
He sees the valid points on both sides, and it's not just about sorting out one bad meeting anymore, is it?
No, it's fundamental. It's about how IT should execute projects going forward. Finding that strategic balance between, let's say, rigorous planning and flexible adaptation. This is a huge moment for him as a strategic IT leader.
And when you think about IVK's specific challenges, that patchwork of legacy systems and third-party software, the source mentions.
Right, the complexity.
It makes Calder's point even stronger, doesn't it? Complex tech integration means requirements are going to emerge during the process. You connect that new cloud service to an old database and boom.
Yeah.
You uncover data governance problems nobody saw coming. Those are major IT issues demanding adaptability.
Precisely. But, to balance that, Huerta's focus on discipline does offer crucial safeguards. His approach helps avoid things like security slip-ups or maybe uncontrolled cloud spending, which are also significant IT risks.
So both sides bring something vital to the table. Jim's challenge isn't choosing one over the other.
No, it's about synthesis. How do you bring them together?
So what Jim does next is really interesting for his own learning. He actually digs out his old project management textbook.
Back to basics. Gantt charts, PERTer, critical path.
Yep. And he realizes quickly these methods are all about how to plan, but they offer very little on managing the unexpected.
Right.
He even finds his own student note scribbled in the margin. What about managing change? kind of foreshadowing his current problem.
That's fascinating. Then he looks into more modern frameworks like CMMI, COBIT, ITIL, valuable stuff for structured processes in IT.
Definitely.
But he sees a pattern, this heavy emphasis on upfront processes, documentation, control. They sort of implicitly assume problems mostly come from not enough preparation.
Which, he realizes, is exactly what Calder had railed against.
Exactly. It highlights a potential management issue embedded in some standard frameworks where that necessary structure can sometimes turn into unhelpful rigidity.
But then he has this breakthrough moment. He stumbles upon Jim Highsmith's Agile Project Management, and the core idea just clicks. Agile project teams expect the plan to be wrong. They expect changes.
That's the fundamental shift.
Yeah.
They continuously adapt as reality unfolds, instead of seeing deviations as errors to be stamped out.
And this brings Jim a sense of relief. It finally aligns with the real-world chaos he's seeing.
And it's not just some niche IT philosophy, right? It connects deeply with broader business trends like that HBR article the source mentions.
Yeah.
It points out that today's environment has far more unknowns, pandemics, hybrid work shifts, generative AI popping up.
Right, constant change.
In that climate, adaptability isn't just nice to have, it's a strategic necessity. The learning-oriented, agile companies, they're the ones that thrive. That's a critical organizational insight for any modern business.
So, feeling energized by this, Jim goes to his whiteboard. Classic move.
Love a good whiteboard session.
He sketches out 2 columns, managing problems you can anticipate and managing problems you can't anticipate.
Okay.
And he realizes his expertise. It's strong in that first column, planning, known unknowns. But the second column, exploring, adapting, course-correcting, it's largely blank for him.
Wow.
And that simple act gives him this incredibly clear strategic direction for IVK's IT.
That whiteboard moment, simple as it sounds, it reveals such a profound leadership insight. Modern IT leaders need skills in both predicting the known and navigating the truly unforeseen.
Right.
And that directly ties into building a robust IT strategy, one that acknowledges the digital world is just too dynamic for purely rigid plans. It's a mindset shift from control towards agility.
The journey continues then as Jim starts reviewing his predecessor, Bill Davies's files, trying to understand the past.
And he finds Davies's old trick, adding slack time.
Ah, the buffer.
Yeah. Davies routinely increased project duration estimates based on this metric he called estimate confidence. Basically, pragmatic risk management through padding the schedule.
Seems sensible on the surface, maybe?
Maybe, but it had a big organizational downside. Parkinson's Law, remember that one?
Oh yeah, work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion.
Exactly. So projects rarely finish early. The slack just got absorbed, maybe adding extra features, gold plating, or just reallocating people.
So it created this management issue of inefficiency, kind of killed the urgency.
Pretty much. It was a safety net that inadvertently encouraged inefficiency.
Okay. But Davies's estimate confidence idea, even if crude, it was trying to capture the likelihood of unanticipated problems, right? A primitive nod to uncertainty.
It was, and this sparks Jim Barton's really intriguing idea. Not all projects are the same, so why insist on one-size-fits-all project management?
Ah, now we're getting strategic.
This is the crucial link to strategic IT leadership. The insight is, tailor the methodology to the project's inherent uncertainty level.
Okay, so high uncertainty projects.
Lean into agile, perhaps.
Yeah, and high certainty ones.
Maybe stick with traditional. It perfectly marries Calder's and Huerta's approaches into a situational strategy, aligning the approach to the context.
Yeah.
That's strategic alignment in action.
That's a brilliant synthesis. He realizes rigid frameworks just don't always cut it for the reality of IT development and integration.
Exactly. And he also reflects on a deeper IT issue, just how hard IT project estimation actually is.
Yeah.
Those traditional methods, lines of code, function points, they often don't work well for the kinds of projects IVK actually does, like vendor package implementations, complex integrations, system upgrades.
The source even says the margins of error were huge, like plus or minus 50%.
Right, which just reinforces Jim's conclusion that project management is as much an art as a science. It relies heavily on experience, judgment, team dynamics, not just formulas.
So how does Jim actually move forward from this really pivotal meeting and reflection? It feels like a massive turning point for him.
It absolutely is.
Right.
He shifts from just firefighting the immediate problems to proactively thinking about strategy, aiming for deep, systemic changes in how IT operates at IVK. That's the real mark of a strategic IT leader taking shape.
So what are his key action points then?
Well, first, he recognizes he absolutely has to blend discipline and flexibility. No choosing sides.
Okay.
He envisions creating a new, adaptive project management policy, maybe one that includes an uncertainty assessment right at the start of a project to help decide traditional, agile, or some kind of hybrid.
That makes sense. What else?
Capability development. He knows he needs to invest in his team.
Training, coaching.
Yeah, maybe looking into agile methods training, possibly sending Rebecca Calder to a Scrum Master course, given her natural leaning that way. It's a strategic investment in the team's adaptability.
Smart.
And he also knows he has to tackle the underlying organizational culture, that rivalry and lack of trust.
Big challenge.
Huge. His goal is to foster a more unified project approach, create a culture where problems get reported and dealt with early, not hidden, which should ultimately improve customer satisfaction through more realistic timelines and delivery, addressing those core organizational issues.
And finally, there's that piece about managing upwards.
Crucial. He realizes he needs to clearly explain to the CEO, to the board, why IT might change its approach. He has to reassure them that agility didn't come at the expense of accountability.
So connecting to IT governance and oversight.
Exactly. Frameworks like COBIT could help him frame that conversation. He can explain that Agile isn't chaos. It's about being responsive and customer-centric, which actually improves success rates and helps control costs for the business.
This whole chapter, this whole deep dive, it really shows Jim Barton starting to bridge that critical gap between IT operations and the overall business strategy.
Yeah, he's aligning IT processes project management here with business realities, blending the best of traditional and agile. It's a really comprehensive, thoughtful approach to modern IT leadership emerging.
Well, that was quite a deep dive into the strategic complexities of project management, all seen through Jim Barton's insightful journey in the book.
It really highlights some common but critical challenges.
We truly hope this discussion has given you some fresh perspectives on tackling IT leadership challenges, maybe in your own organizations. And if you found value in our conversation today, please do take a moment to rate, review, or perhaps share this deep dive with others who might benefit.
Your support really does help us continue unpacking these crucial topics for IT leaders and aspiring leaders.
So Jim Barton left that project meeting with a headache, yes.
Definitely a headache.
But also with a profoundly clear path forward, it seems. As you reflect on his experiences in the adventures of an IT leader, and maybe on your own leadership journey.
Consider this. How might you go about assessing a new project's inherent uncertainty? And based on that, what specific mix of traditional discipline and agile adaptability would you prescribe for it? Not just for strategic success, but also to actively foster a culture of transparent problem solving within your own teams.